Okay, we are live. I don't even want to pretend what happened, but when you're old and you fall asleep and don't set an alarm, sometimes you wake up late to things. So this one's on me, boys and girls, but we're here. It's an NFL game going on, so I don't know that we're missing too much. But we'll be here for about an hour. We'll answer your questions like normal and go through it. If you have questions, if you just want to hang out, I'm open to anything. So just post whatever you got in the chat, and we will get started. It looks like people are still aggregating here in just a little bit, but let's go ahead and answer the first question. First question. Thoughts on AJ Green and FanDuel Cash? Also, if Connor is out, how does that change your lineups for FanDuel? If Connor's out, I think I put it in my article, but if Connor is out or if either of the Broncos running backs are out, the starter in that situation would immediately become the top play for me this week. So that one's pretty easy. How do I like AJ Green in cash? I considered him quite a bit. I'm trying to check his price here. I want to say it was same as Devontae Parker. Sort of just 5,700. So my worry in general for this Cardinals game is, do they need to throw? Can they just run the ball? Are they going to just? Are they just going to win 28-6? I don't know. And they still have Christian Kirk. They still have Zach Ertz, who I love this week. They still have Rondale Moore. So just too many mouths to feed to play him in cash. I want to see how it all shakes out a little bit. We've seen DeAndre Hopkins not there a couple weeks now. And if I just look at AJ Green's game log, he's just been up and down, right? So 4 for 78, 1 for 4, 5 for 50, 3 for 66. Hasn't scored a touchdown since October 17th. So he's probably a no for me, but certainly in consideration. And if you like it, go for it. Need a $4,900 wide receiver on DraftKings. Let me pull that up. It's probably Cole Beasley, but 4,900. Yeah, I prefer Cole Beasley. There's other guys there, but your Marvin Jones is at 46. I'm assuming. God, I'm old. I'm assuming you're playing Devontae Parker. So if you're already playing Devontae Parker at 43, then I think Cole Beasley is the next best option at 49. But if you're not playing Devontae Parker, I love him this week, especially on DraftKings. He's my top sub 5K player. So I would strongly consider that. But yeah, I think you're on the right path there. Who would be a better play, Devontae Parker or Gabriel Davis? I think every question is talked about Devontae Parker. It's Devontae Parker. Gabriel Davis, he's sort of sliding in for Emmanuel Sanders, but how many mouths are there to feed, in Buffalo? He had a good game last week. He had 8 targets, but he only had 43 yards. He did score a touchdown, but yeah, it's Devontae Parker. He's the number one guy there in Miami. I don't know. I don't know the question, Michael. So repost it. I'm not sure that was it a Parker Davis question or is there an additional question there? Okay. FanDuel private 10-team league. Deontay Foreman, George Kittle, or Patterson and Gasicki. I like the first one. Yeah, I like the first one. The way I'm handling tight ends on FanDuel, I'm either going up to Kittle or I'm going down to Zach Ertz. Gasicki kind of falls in like a weird middle ground for me in that I don't know how good Gasicki is because yes, there's a lot of target share coming from Jalen Waddle, but God, I'm a mess today. There's a lot of targets coming from Jalen Waddle, but 7 for 46, 3 for 17, 5 for 50, 4 for 54, and he was shut out against the Ravens, 3 for 48. So you're really trying to bank on him getting back to the early season Mike Gesicki, and I think he's priced a little bit too high. Cordero Patterson, he's fine. He's a good play. I don't see anything wrong with that, but Foreman's going up against the Steelers, and the Steelers, I think any one of us could run through at the moment. Devin Bush is absolutely horrific. I think that's putting it lightly. I'm sorry if there's any Steelers fans listening to this, but he's not a good player, especially against the run. So, Foreman should be able to run 50 yards and potentially score a touchdown. Power Grid recommended Robinson and Freeman for the DK running backs. Yeah, James Robinson is going to be the absolute chalk this week. He's going to be the most popular. Everything lines up. Do I think he's going to be as good as people are hoping for? Probably not. Very, very rarely is like a guy this popular paying off. But, everything from his sportsbook prop is like 85 yards to he's only had 14 carries over his last 2 weeks, and the team has come out and basically begged the coaching staff to give him the ball. And the matchup is good against Houston. And the problem is, like, Urban Meyer didn't call plays. So Darrell Bevel was still calling plays beforehand, is now calling plays even without Meyer. So unless Meyer was like this big vindictive person that just had it out for James Robinson, which is totally possible and totally in the realm of possibility based off of some of the stories that we're hearing, unless that's true, you're not going to see James Robinson come out and have 22 carries. He's never had a game where he has had more than 17. However, his price is so good that you sort of just take him this week. Robinson is intriguing because, Freeman is intriguing because of the pass reception upside that he's shown over the last 2 games. He's caught 5 passes in each of his last 2, as Tyler Huntley looked at him and he looked at Mark Andrews pretty heavily. So if I'm thinking about cheap running backs, it's crazy to take Devontae Freeman. I don't think anyone loves clicking that button. But here we are in week whatever we're at, 15, and with a 7-game slate or 8-game slate or whatever we're down to at the moment, Devontae Freeman is a guy that you probably want to consider. So, I know that this was a absolute debacle where I don't have any more questions. So, I'm going to tweet this out again. If you have questions, please ask them. Otherwise, I know there's an NFL game going on, so we may not get the turnout that we typically do, as well as the late start. Some people may have thought that this was canceled this week. So, So we'll go as long as the questions come in, but give this a like. Sometimes that helps us get people from the algorithm. FanDuel, Gaskin or Zeke this week. This is a tough one. I don't really love either one, to be honest. Like Ezekiel Elliott was he was in a really good spot last week, going up against Washington, and I know Washington has a good run defense, but they got out to an early lead. So I would have thought Elliott would have saw more work than what he did. But Gaskin against the Jets isn't, if I just look at the talent between the two running backs, it's not even close. It's Ezekiel Elliott all day, every day, twice on Sunday. But I don't love either player. But since I have to answer the question, I'll take Ezekiel Elliott because Myles Gaskin just got him back. They got Salvin Ahmed back as well, but Gaskin hasn't done anything. I mean, he had a good game against the Jets. Everyone has a good game against the Jets. 89 yards rushing, 3 receptions, was able to find the end zone. Do I think that's duplicative? I don't see him getting 23 carries again. I'm checking the roster here, but against the Jets, I want to say this is a weird one, if I remember right, where he was the only guy. Yeah, it was basically him and Duke Johnson was the second guy. So Salvin Ahmed wasn't there. It was just those two. So do I think that Elliott has more upside? Could at some point we get 15 or 20 touches out of Elliott? Yeah, I think that could come. I don't see there's no reason not to. I'm going to go Ezekiel Elliott this week. Oh boy. I am not qualified to answer this question. However, let me try and answer it for you. I'm assuming that PP1D's points per first down and 1 out of 10 return yards. I'm assuming Berrios and Amir Abdullah are both returners, but I don't know that to be certain. So Berrios has 825 yards returning. Amir Abdullah you're lucky you caught me on a slow night because I don't know that I would look this up on a normal week. Doesn't look like Amir Abdullah does a ton of returning. 200 yards returning on the season. Give me Braxton Berrios, I guess. I mean, 800 yards versus 200 yards. Berrios still had some impact last week, so I don't know that I'm fully capable of answering that question, to be honest. Favorite plays on DraftKings. Let's see. We talked about James Robinson. Don't love him, but for the value, I think he's going to be popular. At 5,400. Devontae Freeman, I think, is a good play at 55. Looking at wide receivers, Devontae Parker is my favorite player across any site, FanDuel or DraftKings. I really think Devontae Adams is probably at this point a must play. We talked a little bit about Cooper Kupp on the power grid. I think that everything that was said about Cooper Kupp basically just becomes Devontae Adams. He's really the only player that you can trust on any position. The top end running back, you Najee Harris, like he's okay, but Tennessee's run defense has been really good. So do I fully trust Najee Harris? Not really. Joe Mixon's in a tough matchup against Denver. Cordero Patterson's in a tough matchup against San Francisco. So the running back position is really a mess this week. George Kittle, like of the tight ends, we can trust the most, but I think Adams is probably the guy that I want in all of my lineups. At quarterback, this one's a little bit tricky, but on DraftKings, I'm probably going with. This one's hard because if you have the money, I think going up to Kyler Murray is fine. I also think Dak Prescott is a very good play at 6,500. You could go Tua. You could, but I think you're taking on a little bit more risk than Dak or Kyler. I think that the Cowboys have a big game this week against the Giants at 6,500. Dak, we talked a little bit about Ezekiel Elliott's lack of volume, and at some point this passing offense just needs to get right. I'll tell you this, from a GPP perspective, Aaron Rodgers is my top quarterback this week. I think he's my top FanDuel quarterback as well, simply because the price on FanDuel is too low at 7,600. But Baltimore's defense is not good. They're allowing 280 yards passing per game, which I believe is the second highest in the NFL. And that hasn't taken into full account that Marlon Humphrey has only been out for one game. And that was against Baker Mayfield, which the Browns don't have the ability to take advantage of bad pass defenses. Rodgers is coming off 3 straight games of 300 yards. So if I'm looking at a GPP play, I really like Aaron Rodgers this week. Would I be on Taysom Hill if he was on the slate? Probably not. I think that there's some quarterbacks, to be honest, that we just talked about that you could certainly go after. Tampa Bay's run defense is good, right? And Devin White, I get Devin Bush and Devin White mixed up, but Devin White has flaws, but overall, this is a very good run defense, probably a top 3 run defense in the NFL. So it depends on his price, obviously. I don't know what he is on the Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday slate or whatever we're looking at these days, but single entry. I mean, if he's on DraftKings, if he's in like the sub 6,300, maybe he has upside for sure. I mean, we saw it with Josh Allen last week where he ran for over 100. So could Taysom do that? Yeah, could. Is he like a must play like he was against the Jets for me last week? I had him everywhere. Had him as a top guy. Had him every which way. Is he that? No. Parker Van Jefferson, Aaron Jones, Ayuk, David Montgomery. I need 3 PPR with Stevenson putting me in a big hole tonight against Justin Herbert and Tyreek after barely making the playoffs. Okay. So we need upside here, right? Brandon Ayuk's going into my lineup. He had 10 receptions last week. You need big games. 1. I'm debating these running backs and just how big of a hole. Without knowing the rest of your opponent's roster, it's a little bit challenging. But if it's full PPR, just looking things up. Full PPR, I'm probably going to start David Montgomery. 14 receptions over his last 2 games. They're basically checking the ball down to him, which is very enticing. Third, I look at Aaron Jones, Devontae Parker, or Van Jefferson. Probably would go. I mean, I'm probably going to go with Aaron Jones, although I don't love it. Yeah, I probably Aaron Jones, but I don't love it. I mean, Devontae Parker, if you really want to get risky, I think he has a 100-yard upside, but he hasn't scored a touchdown since like week 3. So if he can find the end zone, it's more of a desperation play. I would probably still go Aaron Jones, but I would probably go Jones. Montgomery. If you wanted to go Parker, I don't blame you. I don't know yet, Kurt. I've been the amount of extra writing that has had to happen to produce articles this week has been a killer, but I'm gonna try. We'll see how tomorrow goes, but I'm gonna try. It may replace our showdown article that we do, or I don't know. I clearly haven't slept much. If you guys can just look at me, I'm an absolute train wreck right now, based off of this week. So, going to definitely try to produce something. I know it's gonna be a fun one. Don't cry. Don't cry. It's just a game. It's just a game. I mean, you had to do it. The matchup was always a difficult one, but you had to do it. You had to do it. Jeff Wilson or not Jeff Wilson? I'm playing him on FanDuel. On DraftKings, 5,000. I think on DraftKings you can get away with not playing him, to be honest, because he doesn't catch passes, or at least he hasn't shown an ability to catch passes. But on FanDuel, he's such low priced. Hasn't scored a touchdown yet this year, but it's a good matchup, right? They're playing a Falcons team who's allowing top 5 against the run. Deebo Samuel's there, but is he really? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. I don't know what's going on with Deebo. It's confusing. It's confusing, right? Because he's getting like 7 or 8 carries a game, but he's only getting 1 reception a game. I don't know what's going on with Deebo Samuel. All the volume's going to Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle. So it's very strange, but I'm playing Jeff Wilson in cash. I don't know that I would play him in GBP just because I don't know that he has the upside that you need there. But in FanDuel cash, I am playing him. Yeah, that's interesting. That makes me think, Kirk, that I probably would go Jones. Although, you know what, you seem like you're smart enough to get it, and that if Dylan scores a touchdown, you're kind of even further behind and in a lot of trouble. But I think, yeah, I would probably go Jones, but like again, I'll say it again. I don't love your chances this week. We'll just put it that way. Going up against Tyreek Hill and Justin Herbert. But, that's sometimes how things roll here in week 15. You need some breaks to go your way to close out the championship. Yeah, this is the running back is gross this week. It is. It's probably the worst running back week that we've had in years. I can't remember I'm sure there's been one, but we're talking guys like James Robinson, Devonta Freeman, Jeff Wilson, dare I say Saquon Barkley? I'm not going to, but I'm sure some people are going to go that route. I'm done with him. I've been done with him for years, but like the only two guys that are now, could something weird happen overnight where value opens up based off of Denver or Arizona? It seems unlikely at this point, but could. And that would clarify the position a little bit. But yeah, Michael Carter's in play for the Jets. Myles Gaskin's in play. It's the worst. It's the worst the position's been. I can't remember in the 11 years that I've been playing. I'm sure there's one that it's been this bad, but nothing pops at the top of my head. Start one running back, one wide receiver, one running back, one flex. Jamar. Is it Chase? Deontay Johnson, Javonte, and Barkley. So if it's Jamar Chase, I'm starting Deontay for sure. I'm starting Jamar Chase and God. Well, it depends if it's PPR or not. So if it's not PPR, I'm going Deontay, Javonte, Saquon, and sitting Jamar Chase. Yeah, it's Chase. Otherwise, I'm going to. I'm going to sit. I'm going to sit Javonte Williams. Yeah, Javonte Williams. I just don't trust Denver, right? Because we don't know how this running back situation is going to shape up. Is Melvin Gordon going to get 24 carries again? It seems unlikely, but I don't, a lot of people were saying Javonte Williams is still going to take over the running back position, even though Melvin Gordon is still there and it's going to become a singular backfield. I pumped the brakes on that last week, and I'm still sort of bearish on that this week as well. The matchup's okay going up against Cincinnati. There's nothing to write home against. But the other guys just don't have to worry about that. So, yeah, Henderson, being activated was a godsend, except that game got moved to Tuesday, so it's no longer on the DFS slate. So all the good running backs seem to be off of the main slate, moving elsewhere. But we're all playing the same position pool, so it's part of DFS and it's part of trying to figure this out. Do I expect a lot of changes to my FanDuel article? No. I mean, it seems like we have a lot of these questions answered. It seems like I don't know how much morning of testing that they're going to do. Is a player going to be ruled out the morning of a game? Maybe, right? But we don't have that many truly questionable players. I feel pretty certain that both James Conner and Chase Edmonds are going to play. I feel pretty certain that Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon are both going to play. Trying to think if there's any other truly questionable players. DJ Moore is questionable, but does that really impact anything? Leonard Fournette's questionable, but he's not on the main slate. So you never know how these things go, right? But do I expect anything? No. I hope there's not, to be honest. Be nice to look at my phone early at 6 a.m. and just say, okay, I can go back to sleep for another hour. But we'll see. We shall see. Some weeks that I expect nothing, there's a ton. And some weeks that there's a ton, there's almost nothing. So we'll see. I mean, I'm also going to tinker here a little bit to the FanDuel lineup and see if I can find something that I like better. But it's hard this week, to be honest. It's really difficult. Okay, so I know it's 10:06. We normally end around 10 o'clock. I apologize for getting off to such a late start. I know that there's still an NFL game going on. It looks like the Colts are going to wrap this one up. Big win for them. So congrats to any Colts fans, Jonathan Taylor, managers. Looks like Hunter Henry had a big game, but Ramondre Stevenson, we got some work to catch up to, boys and girls. So, do I do any DK best ball? No, I don't. I'm just not good at it. So I did it a couple years ago, and I don't have the right mindset for it, to be honest. You really have to jump into it and understand it and study it. I have too much going on, to be honest. Okay, so we will see everyone next week. I promise that we will be at the right time, and I will not oversleep like I did this week, but I'm sure that all of you guys can appreciate that this week has been an absolute disaster, and we're doing our best to try and get information out to you. I'll answer one more, but who sits for you in FanDuel Cash if you're running backs? Yeah, it's probably Devonta Freeman if I think about it. I'm trying to think about. Well, no, if one of those guys is active, if one of the running backs are active right now, just to give everyone a little bit of a preview. There's not that many people here. I have Devonta Freeman. I have Devonta Freeman, James Robinson, Jeff Wilson. And then I have Deontay Johnson, Devontae Adams, and I forget the third guy, but I think it was CeeDee Lamb, maybe. Hold on. Let me pull it up. Hold on. Get some late night free primary cash. T. Higgins is the third guy. So Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Freeman, James Robinson, T. Higgins, Devontae Adams, Deontay Johnson, George Kittle, Jeff Wilson, Jacksonville. So what I would do is I would downgrade T. Higgins to Devontae Parker, and I would upgrade Jeff Wilson to one of those running backs. So I would actually bench Jeff Wilson in that case. I think that he's the most fringe guy. He doesn't catch passes. Has to deal with Deebo Samuel in the backfield. Has to deal with more weapons in San Francisco. So I would take out Jeff Wilson. Okay. I will see everyone next week. I hope that it's after next Saturday's Christmas. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out, but maybe we'll do a Friday show. It's Christmas Eve. We'll figure something out. So follow me on Twitter at Devin Knotts FBG if you're not already. I'll tweet something out Hey Scott, yeah, we're just wrapping up. We'll figure something out. We won't have a show on Christmas Day though. That won't happen. So it'll either be on Christmas Eve or it'll be Sunday morning. One of those two. Okay. Take care, everybody. I hope everyone has the best week 15 that they can. Enjoy it. We only have a couple more weeks. And Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everyone, if I don't talk to you. So see you guys.